Hi everyone, it's Jeanette here from the Sewing Studio with a little bit of a request, just hopefully fairly short video today. I bumped into a lovely lady called Sarah, so it's a shout out to Sarah recently, I say a couple of months back now, at the Malvern Quilt Show. And she recognised me from YouTube and she came over and had a chat, which was lovely. So thank you for doing that, Sarah. But one of the questions, or one of her requests she had, is could I explain a little bit more about low volume fabrics. So I thought I would tackle that here today. So I've actually just gone through some of my leftover fabrics and some of my stash and just pulled out some things which are some examples of low volume fabrics. Now, probably the first thing to say is what do we mean by low volume fabric? And it's sort of technical speak, if you like, for any fabric which has a print on it, which is printed onto a light background. So not a solid. So if I sort of hold up that one, that would be something that people would think of typically as a low volume fabric. And to most of our minds, that makes sense. You know, that there's a little bit of colour in there, but there's not a huge amount going on. However, if we look at some of these other fabrics I've got in front of me here, sort of this one, which sort of fits that criteria, there's a print on a light coloured fabric. You know, to most of us we'd be saying actually that's not very low volume, there's quite a lot of colour on that. So some of them do have quite a lot of colour, and I think that's where the confusion lies, as in how is that low volume when there's quite a bit of colour and quite a lot going on with it. So it hits the technical speak in terms of what that fabric is, but then we talk about lights, mediums and darks. Now, I don't tend to call things low volume. I mean, there are some low volumes there, but I'm a very simple brain, so I tend to refer to things as light, medium and dark, and whether they read as light, medium or dark. So in that instance, that would definitely fall into the category of a light. But this, depending on what I use with it, may fall more into the category of a medium. And that's the other thing with all of this, is it's all relative to what else you put with it. So if I was going to use those two fabrics together, if I held those two up, or actually if I put them under the close-up, you can see that actually that one is definitely reading much darker from that. So if I was doing a pattern that wanted something a bit stronger with a medium in, that might work, and that might work as my background. Now, the other thing to say about it is it depends also on what you're doing. So if you're making a block that relies on a heavy contrast between a light and a medium or a light and a dark, then this fabric here would not necessarily work very well as a light. But it depends what you put it with. So let me just show you what I mean by that. So let's bring in that. So there, because we've got a darker fabric in here, that is definitely reading as the lighter of the two. So it's all relative. As I said, you know, some low volumes do have quite a lot of contrast, some low volumes not so much. So let's just look at a few more here, just to sort of reiterate the point and just put them with some others. Now this is an even darker dark, so actually let's just show it with that one. So there, again, that's sort of a darker than that mid-tone. So of those three fabrics, you know, that would be a light, that would be a medium, and that would be the dark. So my sort of advice would be, don't get too hung up about the terminology. I mean, we use it all the time in the sort of patchwork and quilting world. Don't get too hung up about the terminology about low volumes, or just look at the pattern you're trying to do, what the pattern says in terms of what it is for light, medium and darks. Now, in most design sets, the designer will have done that for you. They would have put together a palette of colours that complement each other, that all work together. There'll be a selection of lights, there'll be a selection of mediums, there'll be a selection of darks. There would also be a selection of things with a small print. You'll have fabrics that will have a larger print, but the whole idea is that they all work together. And you quite often as well get a blend of fabric in there. But the whole idea is they all work together. But then us as quilters, the job is to actually pull out the correct fabric for the correct place. But that's always different depending on what it is we're trying to do, what block we're making or what look we're trying to achieve. And sometimes that's a personal preference as well. I like blocks that have got a strong contrast. Other people like things which sort of blend and merge together a lot better. So it really does depend on individual taste and what it is you're trying to achieve. So I hope that's helped a little bit. Like I say, I don't worry too much about low volume. I just think of fabrics in terms of lights, mediums and darks, and I keep it nice and simple. So I hope that helps. If you've got any sort of more technical questions, please do send them in, and if we can cover them, we will. So thank you for spending some time with me here again today, and I hope you'll join me again soon.